And boy, we want to train young minds. We all know they're sponges when they're young. So let's train them and give them as much as we can to put in their minds and think about. Hey grandparents, let's talk about playing pretend with your young grands. Now, this is a lot of fun. We've all played pretend games with our little ones, whether they were our children or the youngest of our grandchildren. But there are really some good reasons to play pretend. And so, first of all, let's talk about imagination. Okay? What is imagination? And I love pulling out dictionary definitions once in a while because it usually makes us think. So, here are the things that pop up in a dictionary definition of imagination. Because when we're playing pretend, that's what we're engaging with, is the imagination of our children and our grandchildren. So it's the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present in the senses. That's one definition. The ability of the mind to be creative or resourceful. And boy, we want to train young minds. We all know they're sponges when they're young. So let's train them and give them as much as we can to put in their minds and think about. And then that part of the mind that imagines things. And kids are so good at this. Let's talk about why it's important, okay? And we're going to refer you to an article. We'll put a link to that article in the notes around the video. And it's called The Importance of Pretend Play in Child Development. And that's a really good way to think about what we're talking about as far as pretend. It's a part of child development. That pretend game has purposes, it has results in the way young ones think and how they handle things coming up. The Dr. Scott Kaufman in this article has this to say: systematic research has increasingly demonstrated a series of clear benefits with children's engagement in pretend games from the ages of about 2.5 to ages 6 or 7. So that's prime time to engage their imagination in pretend play. And what does it do? What do they learn? And there are several points listed in this article. The first one is they learn about themselves and the world. When they're pretending, a different part of their imagination is engaged that starts to allow them to bring out their likes and their dislikes, their interests, and even their abilities. You know, as they pretend to be Superman and they learn how to balance and jump and land properly. We don't typically think of that being something as a result of pretend play, but it is. You're pretending to be flying through the sky and you learn a little something about balance, or you develop some physical abilities. Second thing, it allows children to work out confusing, scary, or new life issues. And a lot of times you see psychologists use play to counsel and work with young children. Well, this is why. Because through pretend, they can explore an experience that might be confusing or scary to them, which will guide the adult in how to help a child deal with some emotional issues. They develop important, complex social and higher order thinking skills. They have to strategize. So they're thinking, the gears are turning and they're thinking how to work something out. They're developing social skills. You know, if they're pretending to be ladies having tea, then they're developing skills about how to interact with friends in a more mature way. They transfer knowledge from one situation to another. They learn how to delay gratification and balance their own ideas with others. Oh my goodness, how important is that? You know, we start out being fairly self-centered beings, and play and engagement with others helps us work some of that selfishness out. They learn how to develop a plan and act on it, and they learn how to assign tasks and roles. You know, how often do their stuffed animals end up with roles to play in their pretend games? They cultivate social and emotional intelligence. and this is back to how we interact with others. That's important. That's a life skill, and pretend play begins that process of developing some of those skills. They synthesize knowledge and skills. So they learn how to blend their skills and their knowledge together to do tasks that they might not ordinarily be trying to figure out if they weren't pretending at some game. So, how can we have more pretend play with our grandchildren? The article has some great ideas in here, and I really strongly suggest you take a look at it. First of all, use stories. That's fun. It's great fun to make up stories with kids and bring them into the story as a character. They love that. They will sit on the edge of their seats and listen for what's happening to them in that story. And they'll start adding to it. Oh, can we do this, or can my character do that? So stories are always good. Dolls and puppets. Let them take on the persona of a doll or a puppet. Hand puppets, easy ones. They love that. They get to talk with their fingers. This was a cool idea. Prop boxes. So maybe you have prop boxes that are themed, an office. This is an office environment, or this is a post office or a restaurant. This is why we see little kitchen sets, from some of the producers of children's toys. So children can pretend they're baking cookies or pretend they're having a tea party. And then just make time to do it. That was another suggestion. And that is simple, but so often forgotten. I'm right there. I'm guilty. I forget sometimes. Boy, I can't get my forgets and my forgots right today. But it's easy to forget to make time to do pretend and just have fun and encourage the imagination in our grandchildren. So check out the article, set yourself up a prop box or two, and start playing and have fun with your young grandchildren. Be grand, my friend.